guys, welcome back. This is Jenny from Polly's Paper Studio, and I have a very country-inspired homespun holiday greeting card for you. This has some mittens from a Gypsy Soul laser cut chipboard. I will have a full step out tutorial on how I finish these mittens on my blog. I will link that when that post goes live so you can check out how I altered these cuties. And then I added them to this very fun and festive greeting card with handmade flowers and some ribbon trim and additional chipboard pieces. So let's make this together. So I've got my mittens already set to add to my project, and these are from the winter shape set from Gypsy Soul laser cut. So there's lots of different shapes in here to alter, and I chose to create these to look like maybe hand-painted plaid. So these are a little more country and whimsical, and I'm trying to do different kind of projects or different kind of styles just to have something to challenge me. I'm normally grabbing a vintage image and making a card out of it, so this is just something new to try. And if you guys are trying something new as well, you should leave me a comment in the description below, because I always love to hear what you guys are doing. And I think for this coming year, I really want to try to learn how to do hand lettering. That's one of my crafty goals, and coloring images. And also I'm very interested in traveler's notebooks, so I think that's a plan for 2019 is to begin journaling things, and so that will be fun new stuff to learn. Okay, so now I've got my shapes, and I want to start with a card base. Here is one all set, and I put in the pattern paper that matches this project, and it is Authentique Retro Christmas. This is from last year, and I'm using the 6x6 paper pad. This is so fun and festive. Lots of good patterns in here. And so my first layer I want to put down is a craft paper layer. I embossed this. I don't have an embossing folder big enough, so I just sandwiched that paper in, ran it through the machine, and then flipped it and did the other side. And I do see that there's a little bit of a gap, but it gets covered and it is not noticeable. I've added this whole panel after adding my faux snow to a glitter layer. Hello, Scooter. I did this ahead of time because I wanted to use wet glue to adhere this craft paper to the glitter, because I don't really trust anything that would come up. So I did this ahead of time so that you guys don't see me gluing myself to stuff and yelling at things. So I've also put a little bit of adhesive here. You can see what I did was I just forgot that I had punched out the center for the focal point, and I glued the whole thing down to my craft mat. So that was my challenge for the day. But now I can add it to this card base and then start the layering. I just wanted to share. It's funny, yesterday I may or may not have gone to the dollar store, and I may or may not have bought a headband with reindeer on spiral stems, and I may or may not have put it on the cat, and he may or may not hate me now, but it was pretty cute. I think my son got a picture of it, so when I can share that I will, so you can see how unhappy he looked when he was being festive. Okay, this is going down here on the card base. Still all those layers have a nice border around to keep them all separate. And I think that faux snow looks really extra festive. And the craft paper is more homespun, kind of country inspired, I think. So I've got another pattern to bring in. So here's the companion paper that came from that same 6x6 paper pad. I put the glitter cardstock on it for my border, and then added the bit of that faux snow. And I know you're looking at that and saying, ooh, that's a lot of glitter, but really, trust me, it's gonna be partially covered, and it works out so that it's just enough, and it becomes an accent rather than a major, like it's not like a very glitter forward card when it's done. So here is that layer. I've got the focal point section cut. I used that same glitter cardstock, and I used this oval die. This is stitched oval. I don't have a set of nesting dies, but what this turns out to do is kind of create a nice border to follow. So when I clipped the glitter sheet, I just left it as it was, and then I ran a white cardstock through it as well, and then I just clipped very carefully right inside that line so that I get a nice even border, and it looks like a nesting die, but really it's just a stitched border. And then I put that down with some glue, and then it's on foam, so that's going to pop up that layer and build a dimension. Here's more glue to keep that down. I think this card is especially good for today because it is nice and sunny, but man, is it cold outside. So I think frost looks especially appropriate. And this is going to hold it right in the middle. Now, when I cut that center section, I just caused myself a great deal of stress because it was so blank. It didn't have it was just neutral. And so what I did to change that was take that whole white oval and run it through with the same snowflake embossing folder that I did the background with. And so it's not, it's a pattern, but it isn't a contrasting color. So it still reads as a neutral, but the texture helps to break it up, and it doesn't look quite so like negative space. So here is, hopefully, I'm gonna attempt to glue this down without gluing my fingers to the project in the process, but let's be real, that just always happens anyway. There is some depth to that chipboard and the extra twine, so I want to tack on a couple of spacers here just to help support that side. I don't have them like attached to each other yet because I want to see how they lay when they're on the card base. So maybe I'll do one more just to make sure that this will be flat when it's on the card. These are really good scrapbook adhesive spacers because they're just a little bit narrower, and if you only need a little bit of space in between, that's good, but if you need more, you can layer them. So let's say we'll put it right here. So let me attach this one first, and then I will add this one to the top. I'm just using a bit of hot glue to hold that down, making sure to hold the twine out of the way so that I don't get it stuck in there accidentally. This is just a natural fiber twine. I picked this up from Amazon. It worked out pretty well. The last roll I got unraveled. I don't know what the heck that's all about, but this one seems to be holding up pretty good. So I want to maybe, let's say, put that right there. So let's just peel the back off of that spacer and then put a little more hot glue on. I love the twine holding these together. It's like when you're little and you had your mittens held on with a string that went up your arm and around your back and down the other arm. I don't think they do that anymore because it's a safety hazard. I think they just get clips, but I think these twine or these mitten strings look very vintagey because that's how they used to do it. All right, so now I'm thinking that I want to roll that and tack it down because the flower arrangement is going to take up a lot of that corner, and I don't want it to be like this because then it would just be taking up the whole corner. So if I twist this and add a little glue. It's either going to be great or I'm gonna glue myself to my card. Let's see, like right there. Yeah, that's good. Hot gluing on camera is always a bit of a risk because you just never know what is gonna happen. Okay, that's good. Okay, so the mittens are tacked in place now. I want to add a feature for the bottom. This is the snowflake border that came with that winter shape set. I finished it just with flat white acrylic paint. It took 2 coats to get a nice crisp white, but do it in separate coats and then let it dry between. And I'm just going to tuck it up under this portion here, and it's just going to become a snowflake border. I think I only need to add adhesive to the ends, so I'm just going to leave that underneath. That way I know I have it spaced where I want it. And add a little bit of this wet adhesive. This is a quick dry adhesive and it holds really well, so I think I like this a lot for adding chipboard. It dries clear too, so if you get it out a little bit beyond what you meant to, it will cover. So now I've got that snowflake border in place, and that is a nice accent for the bottom. It also brightens it up a little bit because that craft paper can look a little bit dark. Okay, where is my flowers? Here is the quick arrangement that I've made. Poinsettia die. Here's one that I created with a magnolia from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and I frankenflowered it together with a different center. Little twine bows to fill that in, and some branchy die cuts. That's going to go right here in the corner, and I'm just going to tack that on with a bit of hot glue. I've also got a small bow here tied polka dots with twine and a vintage button. And I think that goes right here, and that will finish off the card. So I am enjoying so much reading all the comments that you guys have left for me on my small studio vlog where I shared my Christmas crafting storage ideas, and you guys are just so great, and it's so fun to see your reaction because I've not tried a studio vlog before, but for sure I'm going to do more of them because you guys really seem to enjoy it. So here is my finished project. This has those mittens and the snowflakes from my Gypsy Soul laser cut winter shape set, and remember there's going to be a full step out tutorial on how I finish the mittens on my blog. I will link that when it's up, and then also you'll find links to Gypsy Soul laser cuts as well as Really Reasonable Ribbon if you want to check out the rest of these projects. So if you enjoyed this project, give me a like, leave me a comment, and if you're not already, subscribe. As always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.